I would have made this video earlier, but as of now, on October 15th, 8:30, I have COVID, and this is something that I didn't expect for me to get again. I got it before like 2 years ago, and honestly, it kind of reminds me how bad the disease is because I did not expect it to even happen. So hopefully, I get a lot better the next day because I'm trying to edit this video as much as I can. But that's all I wanted to say. I'm sorry for keeping you guys waiting. I'm feeling a bit better than I was before, so yeah, let's get into the video. So if you guys were to think about 5 as a map, would you consider it to be a good or a bad map? When it comes to me, I remember playing this map and always wondered what made me and my brother like it, and if the hate that it received was warranted, and when it came out. And it's still given to this day actually. 5 came out at the same time as Kino der Toten, but was regarded as too challenging or just not on par as his predecessor. What made the map so mixed about it that people still fight on whether or not this map deserves love or hate when talking about their tier list? Let's discuss that here. Black Ops 1 did what World of War has done with its introduction of zombies. When a campaign is being, you'll get a cutscene of a woman saying random numbers, and then a tape being played about JFK and his assassination. Before this game's ending, you're playing as Alex Mason, a man who was brainwashed to kill John F. Kennedy, but due to certain circumstances, things have changed. Or so it would seem. After the tape rolls back, you can find Mason within the crowd, an eerie thought that maybe he did kill the president. But this was left ambiguous as it was never explained further. Then we get a legendary cutscene to the 4 leaders sitting in one room.
For time and the world do not stand still. Change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or the present are certain to miss the future. I said, are certain to miss the future.
Oh no, I missed that.
Prime Minister Castro, this missile crisis was the last straw. We almost blew ourselves up. Now, we invited you here today...
In good faith.
In good faith. To sort this thing out.
And why is he here? He lost.
As I always say, forgive your enemies, but remember their names. Now, gentlemen, as I like to think, in the long history of the world, that there are only a few generations.
Sounds like someone breaking in.
It's just a storm, Dick. Sit down.
Oh my God!
It appears the Pentagon has been breached.
Zombies. Gentlemen, at times like these, our capacity to retaliate must be, and has to be massive, to deter all forms of aggression. Gentlemen, lock and load.
Viva la revolución!
Any last words, Mr. President?
Yes, Jack. Any superlative words of inspiration for our humble troops?
Do not pray for easy lives, my friends. Pray to be stronger men.
As the cutscene ends, we could become one of the 4 leaders and play on 5. This is the last time that COD has ever transitioned the story mode to zombies, and I think it's kind of unfortunate that's the case, as it felt special whenever this would happen. And I have to say that playing in the Pentagon as these legendary figures was so cool to me and many others, especially since everyone wanted to play as the badass himself, John fucking Kennedy. Let's get to what else was added to this map so that we could get into what I think about this map and overall get into the mixed reviews about it. Firstly, this is the first ever map to have a buildable of some form. We all thought it was transit from Black Ops 2, but if you really think about it, technically 5 did it first. If you find these power panels on the floor or in the lab, you can add them to these electrical traps that spawn and now they work. This is really cool for its time, and I bet a lot of you guys forgot or didn't even know that this was a thing. You still have to pay 1,000 points to use it, but a cool feature nonetheless. Then we got teleporters, and not the one from Kino. These teleporters are scattered around the map, and going into them teleports you into random locations. But if you flip these switches from DEFCON 1 to 5, all the teleporters will only transport you to Pack-a-Punch. You have a certain amount of time though, once you enter, as not doing it in time will open the door back to the command center, and the PAT machine will disappear until you flip the switch again. I like this feature a lot actually, and it's something I don't mind at all. Then we get a new special round, and this one is special, alright? Instead of Hellhounds, you get one man, the Pentagon Thief. He doesn't kill the player, but he punishes you for not killing him fast enough by taking away your weapon. That's pretty much it. Since he takes your weapons, he teleports you with him and you will have to chase him down to get it back. There are 3 ways to go about this though. If he took your weapon and you kill him, he drops some max ammo and he gives you back your weapon. But if you don't kill him at all, your weapon is stripped away from you and he only drops you a max ammo. However, if you kill him way before he could get anyone's weapon, not only will he drop a max ammo, but a new drop appears, Bonfire Sale. Getting it makes all the teleporters automatically go to DEFCON 5, and PAP now costs 1,000 points to use. A very good reward, I believe. Then let's talk about the last new things to be added, the wonder weapon called the Winter's Howl. If you watched my custom map video, I talked about it briefly, but I'll explain it a bit more here. Although I got it late in my game, it doesn't matter as to what I think about it. It's a gun that freezes the zombies when it one-shots. If you're on a high enough round to where it doesn't one-shot, it will instead slow them down to walking speed. So it has more than one usage, for whatever reason. The thing is, this wonder weapon is extremely weak. Even on rounds like round 15, it can't one-shot a zombie. It will instead sneeze on them. Pack-a-punching it fixes the issue, but even then, on rounds where it should one-shot a zombie, it doesn't live up to anyone's expectations. I shot this crawler unpapped to give an example on round 28. Of course, it doesn't do anything. Makes sense honestly, even the ray gun wouldn't one-shot a zombie. It will two-shot most of the time. But the Winter's Howl doesn't even do that. It's that bad. Now let's get it papped and do it again on a crawler. Then on a regular zombie.
Miseducated is a zombie lost.
You see how many fucking rounds it takes to take out a horde and a crawler? Why is it this weak? Maybe it's good for taking out the Pentagon Thief?
I shall not be afraid to use this.
Breach detected on level 3. Initiate security protocol 115.
Need a mag like yesterday.
Nah, not really. It could get him in one clip, sure, but you know which weapons are infinitely better? The ray gun and the Mustang and Sally's. What in the world? Now we can understand the PAP starting pistols to do better, as it shoots explosive rounds and that destroys any horde, any boss zombies, no contest. The ray gun could also get the job done, but why is the Winter's Howl so weak compared to them? Both the ray gun and the Howl are pistol wonder weapons. The ray gun has splash damage, so it can take out multiple zombies in front of the shot when that was taken. But the Winter's Howl should be able to take out a horde at round 29 and up. The ray gun, if you guys don't know, does more damage if you shoot at their feet as it has a damage multiplier. Shoot it at their chest or head and it won't do as much damage. But the Winter's Howl has nothing at all. Besides that though, what do I think about 5? I think 5 gives a good enough of a challenge for it to be an alright map, but honestly, this map doesn't have that much on it. It has a creepy lab that is actually kind of scary. The ambience of the colors you'll see in here are either green or red. Green from all of these failed experiments of the Novo crawlers and other mishaps that the scientists would have had along the way. And red, with it being obvious, no one in this lab survived the zombie outbreak. Just being down here is pretty creepy since it feels like someone is here. Peeking around a corner, the Nova 6 crawlers are in here, but if you don't go down to the lab at all, they will never leave or teleport out of it. A horrible place to train, but it's a place that holds a lot of lore and horror factors to 5. But I actually can't wrap my head around it to really say it's great. I think it's an alright map, not better than Kino, but around the same tier as it. I actually don't really like the special round here, if I have to be honest. The Pentagon Thief was good for its time, but it quickly became either frustrating or boring once you have everything set up. All you need is a guy with a Mustang and Sally, and he won't be able to leave his spawn. Hell, you can even make it so that he doesn't appear at all if you don't turn on the power. This does lead to the perks not being activated, but it's a nice feature that would be used later on. He looks creepy, don't get me wrong, but I feel like there could have been more to him. What is cool though is that he only targets one person at a time. If you're playing with friends, he will only get one guy, teleports them, and do the same thing until everyone has lost one weapon, then fucks off to his mother's basement. But if you aren't targeted, you can't see him. you can only see the number trails he leaves behind, which makes it pretty terrifying if you realize that you're the one being chased, because if you are, only you can see him until he gets you. Your friends can also still kill him, even if they can't see him, which is a pretty good touch. Other than that, he's a pretty boring and mediocre boss round zombie. I've already spoke about the Winter's Howl, so no need to go back to that. Let's talk about the perk locations. Not gonna lie, they're pretty ass. Only two though. Quick Revive and Speed Cola are fine. Juggernog and Double Tap have the worst perk locations in zombies ever, I believe. Firstly, when you get off of the elevator, Double Tap is just right there. It looks so out of place, and although it isn't the worst spot here, it just doesn't look right. However, Jug is in the worst place imaginable on 5. It's in this little corner, and getting it mid-round is awful. You can even get stuck with a body blocking you if you're getting surrounded, and again, it looks so out of place. I wasn't going to mention it at all till we got to the last DLC on Black Ops 1, but Mule Kick being here with 2 other perks is so awkward, and if anything, Jug should have been there. I feel like if we move these perks to a certain location I have in mind, it would be so much better. Double Tap should be down in a lab, as there's nothing in there. There's only a Bowie knife and 3 mystery box locations, so why not put the perk in one of these locations? And Jug should be where Mule Kick is. It's just way better. Now, where does Mule Kick go? I don't know, maybe inside of the elevator when it goes to the lab. But again, I'll talk about that perk later on, as Mule Kick wasn't on 5 or any other maps originally yet. And yeah, that's where I believe they should go, and honestly, I think it's way better than how it is now. I wish there was modded zombies in Black Ops 1, but I don't believe there is. Now, when it comes to the map itself, it's pretty cramped in many places except for 2 areas, the command center and the halls that spawn. The other locations are simply too dangerous to try to train around. Even then, the 2 areas I listed are pretty risky too, as there's a lot of windows that the zombies can come out of. But the hallway where Speed Cola is actually the best spot to train the zombies in. Don't get me wrong, it's hard in this area. And although I didn't train in that room in my game when I was getting this clip, I'm aware that high rounders use that spot to get pretty high in zombies. There's even an elevator near them as well as an escape plan, so it isn't 100% bad. And that's all I have to cover. When I'm making this video, there wasn't a lot I could talk about, as this map is pretty plain in a lot of areas. Cool secrets, sure, but the map as a whole wasn't eye-popping to me compared to Kino der Totem. I believe a lot of people don't really like it because there's nothing worth noting besides the 4 main characters and when to pick up the Winter's Howl, which is never. It's kind of a bummer too, because this map is actually pretty cool. It looks fine at first, but once you go into the second elevator, the map becomes a lot more sinister. But this doesn't help the map get any higher when it comes to a good map, quote unquote. I remember putting this above Kino in my tier list, and after some thinking, nah, it's alright, but not above Kino. If anything, I would say it's below it. With that being said, let's do a lightning round, and this might be the fastest lightning round I've done today. If you guys have some interesting facts about this map that doesn't correlate to Classified in Black Ops 4, since I'll be covering that later properly, then you're more than welcome to commenting down. I try my best to find these secrets without looking online sometimes, and this is something I did especially with Kino as well. So let's get into the first one. Speed Cola and Quick Revive's perk location were actually different from the beginning of this map's creation. If you look at the TV that the game shows you when you pick zombies in the main menu, Quick Revive is in Speed Cola's location in the right hall. You can find the wonder weapons like the ray gun and Winter's Howl being assembled in the lab on the tables. You can find the ray gun outside of this barrier, and the Winter's Howl in this mystery box location. You can even find the shooting range where they will test it. Not only can you find those 2 wonder weapons, but you can find the thunder gun in this cabinet and a death machine on top of this cabinet. Speaking of which, the death machine was added to 5 for the first time, and it's actually a pretty bad drop. When received, it comes out slowly and doesn't actually one-shot zombies, like how we would get it in Black Ops 3. You can't even swap out the weapon to revive teammates, so if you got it, you're stuck with it. When watching the 5 cutscenes, you can see the ray gun when JFK reveals the weapons, just sitting right here. But they never use it for whatever reason. 5 got its name because of us being in the Pentagon, right? And of course the shape has 5 sides. I think, probably. I'm not too sure. There's a pig in a lab that you can look at pretty closely. You can kill it or leave it alone, as doing so does nothing. There were theories that killing the pig made the map harder, but this was never proven. If you wanted to know when the office door would open when you finish pack-a-punching, the DEFCON number will count down when you look above the door. And lastly, Richtofen and the Shadow Man's picture can be found in the office where Pap is. Not sure on its purpose as to why this is, but it's out of plain view. And that is all I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video as it took a bit to make it. I was trying to find as many things as possible on this map, as well as, I was sick for a while. Again, I'm sorry for keeping you guys waiting. I didn't want to keep this video project out in the editing phase for so long, but I got sick. My fiance got sick, so it was a pretty troublesome experience for me and her. And overall, there was just nothing interesting about this map that I could find. Like, sure, I found this corpse that could be used, that was used multiple times by the stairs of this barricade, which is also used in the lab. But is that really interesting to you guys? Not to me anyways. If anything, I think it's funny how it's been reused many times on this map alone. When I make the next video, I hope that I can find a lot more interesting things for you guys to enjoy hearing about. I'm Special Azzy, stay safe and stay hydrated.